Good morning, and we'll call to order the meeting of the RTC Board of Directors. Ms. Maynard?
Thank you, Chairman Brown and members of the board. Your first item is to conduct your first citizens participation.
Okay, and I'm sorry, first we have to acknowledge and take a roll call from those board members.
Yes, I believe so. Is that Maren?
Good morning, this is Maren Dubois for the record. Do we have Mayor Pro Tem Anthony on the phone? Mayor Pro Tem? We have Councilman Isaac Barone on the phone.
I'm here.
Thank you. We have Chair Larry Brown in the building.
Present.
Councilman George Galt on the line.
Present.
Commissioner Jim Gibson in the building. Here. Mayor Carolyn Goodman in the building. I'm here. Mayor Deborah March on the line.
Here.
Mayor Kiernan McManus on the line.
Present.
And Director Christina Swallow on the line.
Present.
And Mayor Pro Tem Anthony, can we check in that you're still on the line, please? He's not. Apparently he's no longer on the line, but you have everybody else.
We have a quorum. Ms. Maynard, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. And again, your first item, Chairman Brown and members of the board, is to conduct your first citizens participation period.
First time set aside for public comment. Those wishing to speak on a posted agenda item, now is your opportunity. Is there anyone here in the audience that wishes to speak? Seeing and hearing no one, are there any email or phone-in comments?
There are no additional comments.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll close this portion of public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next order of business is to approve the agenda. The agenda is in order and ready for your approval.
Approval of the agenda.
Motion for approval. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I thought I heard Mayor Pro Tem Anthony's voice. Are you there? Oh, good for my hearing at my age. Thank you very much.
Actually, that might have been me. He was my teacher at one point, so, they say that, of course, the students reflect the teachers, so that's what it is.
Where are we?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Thank you. The next two items are to receive the CEO and NDOT Director's Report. In support of the Governor's recommendations made earlier this week to keep this meeting brief, we will not provide a CEO or NDOT Director's Report. However, we will provide those updates at a future meeting. So next on the agenda, Chairman Brown, members of the board, is to approve the consent agenda, which consists of items 5 through 32 and can be taken in one motion.
If there is nothing to be removed from the consent agenda, I move its approval.
Motion on the floor for approval. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is to appoint an evaluation committee. This is item number 33, to assess the performance of the CEO.
May I offer the recommendation as a motion for Mayor March, Councilman Galt, Commissioner Gibson, and Mayor Goodman as an alternate. All those in favor of that motion say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Chairman. The next three items will be taken together. This is items 34, 35, and 36, and Mr. Mark Trosdahl, CFO for the RTC, will be introducing this item. Mark?
Thank you, MJ. We have our audit reports for the end of fiscal year 2020. Item 34 is to receive the report of our financial statements, and item 35 is a single audit report for our grants, and item 36 is special procedures that our auditors perform to make sure that we're accounting for the revenue for FRI appropriately and also the expenditures. We do have on the phone with us our auditor, Brad Shell, who will give us a presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Chairman and all board members, for allowing me to have a few minutes today to talk through some of the highlights from the audit procedures and a few other things. So, but just before I get started, wanted to say that obviously I wish I could be there in person. Having every intention to presenting in person today, like many of the others who are joining via WebEx, but obviously COVID had other ideas. Also wanted to just take the time to express my appreciation to management for their significant efforts during the process this year. Obviously with the pandemic, this year was much different in general, and so to ensure maximum safety from both RTC and Crow, we ended up agreeing to perform 100% of the testing remotely. And actually everything went very smoothly. RTC was able to provide all the information electronically and I think made that transition much smoother than what I have seen with some of my other clients. You may recall Crow works with many of the largest public transit agencies in the country, LA Metro, CTA, MARTA, et cetera. And also within the state, we audit RTC Washoe, and there in Las Vegas, obviously flood control and aviation authority in the county. And just through that, there was a few things that really stood out about RTC compared to some of my other clients. And I think just the efficiency and preparedness, like I mentioned in the audit process of the entire accounting and finance team, is just really top notch. And internal controls are very good, and they're always open to improvements or suggestions. Specifically, we have actually been hosting Zoom transit finance roundtable meetings monthly pretty much since the pandemic started. Those initially revolved around CARES Act funding and how to deal with some of those issues, and have evolved since then. But both Sherwin Gutierrez and Mark have been extremely active in those, and Mark was actually generous enough to serve as a panelist during our presentation in October, so appreciate all of their support in that. And I think that just goes to show, that their involvement in the public transit industry and the coordination there. As it relates to the reports, as Mark mentioned, agenda items 34 through 36, we were engaged to audit the basic financial statements of RTC, provide a single audit report which covers the federal grant expenditures, and then also to perform agreed upon procedures related to the fuel revenue index. Management obviously is responsible for the financial statements. We are responsible for providing an opinion on those. And I think you have those copies of the reports in your packet. So I'll just touch on a few things from a high level in item 34, financial highlights. We are providing an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance and is a clean opinion. So that's obviously what you're striving for and something to be proud of. I think as we look through some of the financial activities, some of the things that stood out, especially in this COVID environment and everything that's going on there, the fact that you have a reserve policy in place, it's obviously very important in times like this, and that's something that we don't see that every place has in place. And so I think that is something to make note of, and that was in place prior to the COVID. The other thing that I think financially, I think just something that provides a little bit of flexibility is, as we look through the financial statements, there's, you have no debt on the public transit side of RTC, which again is, I would say, fairly uncommon in public transit, and allows for more flexibility and allows for more cost to be used for the actual operations. From a single audit standpoint, which is agenda item 35, There's 2 reports in there, the Government Auditing Standards Report and the Uniform Guidance Report. Both of those are clean audit opinions as well. No instances of any non-compliance and no findings to report there either. So the last item, item 36, is the Fuel Revenue Index results. And again, no concerns or exceptions noted based on the procedures that we completed. All of the FRI revenues were properly accounted for, and FRI funds were only utilized for the board-approved FRI projects. So again, just overall, I think a very clean year, and again, I wanted to just thank the entire finance team for all the help and assistance throughout the process in a obviously more difficult year. So with that, I'd open up if anyone has any questions for me. I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Staff? Hearing none, entertain council, we can take these 3 items in one motion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, if the motion is to receive these reports, I move we receive them. Is that the motion?
It is.
Heard the motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and again, many thanks to Mark Trosdahl. He's a very humble guy. His team put in hours and hours of work. They are dedicated professionals. I couldn't be prouder to have them on the team, so thanks for everything that you do, Mark. Mr. Chairman, the next item is item 37. It's a closed-door session. This is our legal item. There are no matters to bring before the board at this time, so we'll move on to the next item, which is item 38, and that is to conduct your last and final citizens' participation.
Second time set aside for public comment. Those wishing to speak to the board, now is your opportunity. Is there anyone here in the audience that wishes to speak to the board?
Where's the microphone?
Is this time now?
Yep, time for you to speak.
Sit or stand?
You can, here's the microphone.
Hello? Are you there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I don't know how to start. I lost my sight 9 years ago to leukemia. Most people looking at me can't see I don't have any sight. But when you look at me, you also can't tell I have leukemia, heart failure, kidney failure. I have many doctor's appointments to go to. I depend on paratransit for 6 years now to get me there. The new system people have not been any better than the past. And now they've let go supervisors who at least had communication with the handicap and other employees that were better than what you have now. My main concern is I've been taken to the wrong appointment recently and left there, and they came back in and dragged me up a street that was too long for me to walk instead of putting me on the bus, and I was laid up for 3 days because of that. This Saturday, sorry, I'm gonna get upset. This Saturday, while going to an appointment, I left the class early because I was afraid to be left behind for any reason after the store closed. So at 5 o'clock, I had a trip going home. When I booked my ride going there, I asked for door-to-door service. My biggest request today, please bring back door-to-door service for the handicapped. They're not putting it in a proper place on the manifest. You've gone straight to computers on paratransit. They cannot see the door-to-door request, and they don't give you door-to-door service. The text messaging failed me secondly, after the operator failed me. The text messaging said my bus would be coming in 8 minutes. And I was sitting by the door, all glass. All the employees could see the bus. Every time I've ever been there, they said, your bus is here. And 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I call in, they say your bus is already come and gone, and they can't come back for you. And we'll see when we can get a bus out to you. In the previous, I'm sorry, can I talk some more?
Yes,
Hello?
continue.
Okay. In the previous left behind situation I've been in, They said, wait outside, we'll be there in 3 hours. As a blind cancer patient, I can't stand for 30 minutes outside. I can't go through 3 hours of standing outside. So they left me. I had to hitchhike with a person who I don't know to get home. Basically, a stranger offered me a ride when paratransit failed me. And the other time, which is not with this company, the cancer people got me a taxi home at their expense. I just know this has happened to other handicapped people. So I am begging you, please don't leave another handicapped person alone in the dark by themselves when they can't find their way home, except to maybe call the police. I don't know what to do to fix this. But please, please stop it from happening. Thank you.
And thank you for your comments. Could you state your name for the record?
Kathy Patino.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak? If not, we'll turn to any phone call or written comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, this is Eileen Pastor, RTC Government Affairs Supervisor. We have 2 written comments that have been submitted. The first comment is from Ms. Stephanie Versnick. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Versnick, and I'm testifying before you for the 33rd time. Many of you are very familiar with my story. I live in a half-mile outside of the service area. For the last 18 years, my son Christian has worked at the Nellis Air Force Base Commissary. He is a federal employee with full benefits. My son has autism and does not drive. I have been testifying every month for the last 2 years and 9 months. I've been asking this commission to expand the service area in this community. I stated last month, eliminating multiple routes and not expanding the service area is just adding additional stress to families who are already dealing with financial hardships and food insecurities. Despite my testimony, the routes did get eliminated and the service area has not been expanded. We are in a pandemic. Our numbers are going up. This is not going away anytime soon. Our lives are very different today. Wearing face masks will be a way of life for the foreseeable future. Handshaking, hugging, or standing too close to one another is a thing of the past. In these challenging times, transportation for people with disabilities is more essential now than before. People with disabilities need access to essential services like going to the doctor, grocery shopping, or just to get a flu shot. These are essential services that you and I take for granted. For many people with disabilities, paratransit is their only option. Why can't public transportation for people with disabilities be the one thing that they don't have to worry about? Why can't paratransit be a service that is here for the most vulnerable members of our community? Until this commission expands the service area, which in my opinion is long overdue, I have asked this commission to develop an affordable premium service plan option for people who live outside of the service area. For the last 9 months, I asked this commission to develop a plan and add it to the agenda as an item to vote on. Again, my request has been ignored. Does this commission not have the respect to acknowledge a request from a member of the community? My request is not unreasonable. At the very least, I think it deserves an explanation. I'm very disappointed with the lack of communication of this commission. In my opinion, it is very rude and unprofessional to continue to ignore a request being made in public comment. This is my community, and as a concerned member, I am again requesting to have a proposed affordable premium service plan added to the December agenda and ask this commission to be prepared to discuss and vote. It is my hope that my request is recognized and not ignored for the 9th time. And your second public comment is from Ms. Robin Kincaid. Good morning. My name is Robin Kincaid, and this is the 26th time I've come before this commission regarding the need to change paratransit service area back to the 2011 configuration. Once again, if as a community we are going to embrace growth, we have to find a way to meet the needs of persons with disabilities. It is essential that we visit the configuration of the service area and determine how we can reconfigure the shape of the map to eliminate inlets that contain essential services. As the valley expands, the access for persons with disabilities continues to shrink in comparison. This results in fewer choices and opportunities for persons with disabilities. Back in the January 2020 meeting, Mayor Goodman brought up the concept of a premium service rate to be able to address the needs of individuals that cannot get service. This might apply to either a person with disability who does not living in the service area or might have to access a business, new friend, or relative that moved out of the service area. Please place this proposal on the November 2020 agenda for consideration. Please respond to these concerns. Calling for rides and either getting no solution found or being told to call back. It should not require multiple phone calls to obtain a ride. The April 2018 Federal Transit Authority report found deficiencies in this area and corrective action was ordered. I do not believe that corrective action occurred, and I am asking for an investigation into these practices. The current practice constitutes a waiting list and is in violation of Section 37.131F2. RTC ride check system has significantly provided less information, such as prediction of when the bus will arrive. I understand that since the change to MV, bus riders will have to wait 6 to 9 months to start receiving information online that they were receiving with the previous contractor. One of the recent challenges is that RideCheck text users are only given information in military time. Current schedules for non-paratransit bus service are not published in military time. Persons with disabilities have not been provided any training to be able to understand how to convert the time to standard time. Please review this practice and consider communicating only in standard AM/PM time to all bus riders. On Tuesday, October the 6th, my daughter Kayla was on the bus and the bus was involved in a traffic accident. Kayla was not hurt, but did end up missing her college class. There wasn't any notification to family, and there was some concern that since she was missing and on the bus for over 2.5 hours. Please review this lack of notification to family or emergency contact when a paratransit rider is involved in a vehicle accident. In the spirit of transparency, please revisit the public comment process. These artificial deadlines of 5 p.m. the night before the meeting are unreasonable. When can the public call in or participate using a virtual platform? Thank you for providing a response. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the written submitted comments.
And we have no one on the phone?
No.
We'll close this portion of public comment. Everyone, wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving. This meeting is adjourned.